life. Life's a game, you best to make the right moves, or else find out that it's easy to lose. You see, there's rules to this shit, and you need to learn them or pay your dues to this shit. Best believe you earn them. See myself, I walk that path that seems to be lit, because a nigga like me trying to have some shit, and these cats be plotting daily, which makes it harder. You think I ain't watching my back, then nigga, you're older. I question niggas' turn is like Gatorade. Is it in ya? And no nigga, I don't give a fuck if I offend ya. Plus I roll with them cats who keep me on my tippy peeping game as we smoke more bud than a hippie. But that won't blur my vision from seeing how scandalous you niggas is being. Living in the same city, the city of snakes, the home where you can't get no breaks. Life's hard. If you snooze, you lose when you're living inside these St. Louis avenues. Life's hard. If you snooze, you lose when you're living inside these St. Louis avenues. Life's hard. If you snooze, you lose when you're living inside these St. Louis avenues. Life's hard. If you snooze, you lose when you're living inside these St. Louis avenues. It gets harder when you have to hustle, have sense, cause niggas see you rising and that makes them tense. Then watch them get shaky, then a pocket full of change. Them same niggas who be looking at you strange. Some friends even change, cause they ain't keeping up, thinking it's your fault that things stacked with bugs. And you know you've been keeping it true like you supposed. Now they wanna walk around like hoes. Yeah. Now here comes some new problems. I think it's called hating. Got them lying, acting like a bitch and exaggerating. And I ain't got time for these so-called perpetrating. The fuck away from me needs to be your destination. Now you gotta watch more nigga. Ain't they know a little something about you ass nigga. So I people maul, from my best friend to my best bitch, to these niggas trying to make me rich. Life's hard. If you snooze, you lose when you're living inside these St. Louis avenues. Life's hard. If you snooze, you lose when you're living inside these St. Louis avenues. Life's hard. If you snooze, you lose when you're living inside these St. Louis avenues. Life's hard. If you snooze, you lose when you're living inside these St. Louis avenues. It gets even harder. You keep a lot of shit on your chest. It'll have a nigga often mad and always stressed. That's why I keeps my mind on where it needs to be. Like getting me some money like Master P. I fight hard against these forces of evil, I'm telling y'all. That's why these rhymes I write is what I'm selling y'all. See, I use my pen every time I get pissed when I really wanna use my fist. See, that's how I stay away from the bullshit. Cause nowadays niggas be wanting the bullshit. And I be faster, guaranteed to blast y'all. Wrap that ass up and take you somewhere and trash y'all. That's when them haters will come back into play. Praying to have a nigga going up the way. Praying to see a nigga life fucking destroyed. And that's what a nigga trying to avoid. Right. Life's hard. If you snooze, you lose when you're living inside these St. Louis avenues. Life's hard. If you snooze, you lose when you're living inside these St. Louis avenues. Life's hard.